My personal mechanics that I mean, I love dice mechanics. I love dice rolling and dice placing. That's my sweet spot for gaming.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of trader mechanics. I don't like them. To me, it takes the fun away from games. But that's just me. I just don't like them.
Yeah, you and Nicole. I think I would have a problem with trader mechanics if it's always there or if the game is dependent on it.
Yeah.
I mean, which is weird because I backed this Who Goes There, and I'm really curious to see how it plays out. I like the idea of the fact that you're all on the same side, but at some point it changes.
Yeah.
But the Who Goes There is interesting because if I remember correctly, you're all trying to get the supplies to survive so you can get on the helicopter at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you become the Thing, your objective is to get the supplies and survive and get on the helicopter at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So the paranoia is, do we all want to get on that helicopter at the end of the game? Because if one of us is the Thing wins and everyone else loses.
Yeah.
And that becomes the funny little loop. The fact that when the trader mechanic is implemented, he does not wish to sabotage your mission. He wants to get on that helicopter at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And that's the part where I was like, okay, you kind of got me there. Because now you're talking about the psychological game of going, I am the Thing, and all I need to do
is go along
with the show because I want to get on that thing.
Yeah.
And I want to infect other people because I'm the Thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how the other one does, but Who Goes There seems to have that kind of that mechanic. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. But other trading mechanics, like we see with Shadows of Over Camelot, where you're randomly assigned cards and one of you might be. So every time you play, there's a chance. And I think Shadows of Camelot, it's a great game. And I can say right now, we will never play Shadows of Camelot with the trader mechanic.
House on Haunted Hill, I think it's called.
Yeah.
That's another randomized trader mechanic.
Yeah.
You may or may not be.
But doesn't that get determined halfway through the game, though?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it kind of kicks in halfway, but you may or may not be a trader. There might be other extenuating circumstances. So that one also intrigues me, but I do like the idea of the random trader because you don't know who's going to be it, and then they have to play a game differently. But I've never been a fan of the ones where there's always a perpetual trader, like the expansion for Pandemic, I think it is.
The Bioterrorist. Yeah.
Bioterrorist.
Where he's working against the group.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that. I just don't like it.
I don't think we'll ever play with that.
Yeah.
I think the game is more difficult enough to have a jerk on the other side making your life miserable. It's like the game is hard enough as it is.
It doesn't need to be harder.
It doesn't need to be harder with someone actively trying to mess with us.
Yeah.
There are games like Fury of Dracula where you are playing, there's a guy who's actually working against the whole party.
Yeah.
We don't own any of those yet. I'm curious about it because it would be interesting to see where it's an anti-GM. There are some GMs that they want to kill off their players. This is a game where you're literally, that's your job.
Yeah. The TPK.
Yeah. And if he wins, then he wins and everyone else. So the idea of one against all, it's different than a trader mechanic because it's like, well, no, there's no trader, there's Dracula.
Yeah, he's actually the bad guy.
I'm curious. I have never played one of those games yet.
That'd be fun. That would be kind of cool. Because you're actively playing against somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love cooperative games.
Yes.
Almost every cooperative game I like. The mechanics work well, except there's one part of cooperative games I cannot stand.
The idea that you have to hold the cards separate.
Secrecy.
Yeah.
Secrecy.
Yeah.
I hate it. I think it's dumb. And any game that has, oh no, you don't tell anyone. I'm like, is this game more difficult because as a cooperating group we can't all work together? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, the game is supremely easy unless you do that. I go, well, then you've designed a game that's not very good.
The flip side, the argument I hear about that is, well, thematically, you're not in the same location. Say in Pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? You're not in the same location.
Have you heard of cell phones?
Right? We have this global communication. Okay, so you take the theme into a different world.
Which is funny, too, because Pandemic Iberia, which is set in like the end of the 18th century, early 1900s, cards are on the table.
Exactly.
It's in the book.
Exactly.
Lay them flat. The game's hard enough as it is. It's a dumb rule. We took it out. And that was the first thing I noticed. Like, you knew that rule was stupid. Now you're ignoring it because you know nobody worth their mind is going to ever play with cards hidden. And games that do, where it's like, no, you cannot tell anyone. You have secret objectives. Like, we're cooperating. Yes, you all win or all lose, but you have secret objectives. You can't tell anyone. But what if I want to? What if I'm playing someone that I wants to tell them the secrets, right? Like, no, you have a secret agenda. It's like Dead of Winter. Even if you take out the traitor mechanic outside of Dead of Winter, you still have these secret missions you can't tell anyone. Yeah. You're like, I could just go, guys, I have to have this mission. Nope, you can't tell them. That's not how the game works. I go, we're cooperating, you idiots. Can't I just be a player that wants to be honest with what he says?
Nope.
But that game has another screwed up mechanic. The fact that you're playing as someone who's a traitor mechanic. I'm playing as this guy. Oh, he dies. This guy moves in. And somehow he inherits that traitor mechanic. I just say, no.
Hey, well, he's a different person.
He wanted to hoard. This person was just salvaged. How is he the hoarder now?
Yeah.
Grizzled is another game like that. Grizzled's supposed to be played, cards up, zero communication. Nobody talks to each other. And that's supposed to reflect the fact you're in World War I, bullets whizzing by, and you guys are all dealing with your psychological stress. That's fine. The game is hard enough as it is. It gets incredibly more difficult when you don't tell anyone. And I guess it's a fun little card game that you can wrap in 5-10 minutes, so I don't judge it for that. But if that was a long game, I don't think I'd tolerate it. It'd be painful to not be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Well, you know which other game has a game where it specifically states players cannot reveal their secret objectives. They cannot reveal their secret missions. They cannot show their cards. Do you know how the game does that? It's part of the gospel. I kid you not. In the book, Gloomhaven is very specific that you do not share your cards, your strategy, your secret missions, nothing.
This is not, I swear, this is not about crapping on Gloomhaven.
Yeah, I know. You think it's not about crapping on Gloomhaven. But when you look at it, it's like, yeah. And I saw that, it's like, how is this game number one if they include a stupid mechanic like that?
I mean, if the mechanic is thematically, it makes sense.
They're saying, oh, no, heat of combat, you guys aren't really communicating what your strategies are.
But that doesn't make sense.
I go, you know what? We've been playing D&D for 40 years. We've not had a problem now. Why are you making it a problem now? Yeah. We've never done that.
Yeah.
There is never... I refuse to play a game where players are screwing each other with traitor mechanics. There's never been a game that ever lasts 3 years when people are constantly fighting each other.
No, absolutely
So I know going into Gloomhaven, and people have said Gloomhaven is incredibly difficult. People complain that the first mission, there are people TPKing left and right. I go, hey, how about you just cooperate?
Hey, isn't it supposed to be co-op? Like, am I wrong?
I think a cooperative game should have 100% cooperation.
Yeah.
If there's a one versus all, then fine, one versus all.
Unless the party is deliberately split up, then it makes sense.
As a GM back in the 90s, I used to do that. I was a player in groups where the GM would split us. We'd go into another room, and he'd role play off the side for a secret.
Yeah.
And there have been times where weeks would go past with this group separated.
Yes.
And now as an adult, I will go back to all those people and say, don't you ever do that again. If you're a group in the room, you never split your party up. You move them for a side for 5-minute thing, sure, but you never, ever split your party up. If they are split up, because they want to split up,
they are coming back together by act of God.
Make sure they're coming back together soon, A. B, make sure things are happening where you don't care that the other players know, because you're not splitting that group up in that room, because that makes it miserable. People don't have fun, right? If you want to do something private with someone, write them a note, pass them like a note to your girlfriend in study class. Just pass it along and let them do it that way. And I used to do it all the time. I used to pass Facebook messages to other players in the same room with me, and they would message me back secret things that they were doing. It didn't disrupt the flow of the game, and people will still cooperating.
Yeah. Yes. Now, in a game like this, though, that doesn't work because there's no GM to police that.
Yeah. But in the same context, if the game is already incredibly difficult and you can alter the difficulty by simply making the monsters higher level, why would you not simply go, well, let's just play pure cooperative, lay our cards on the table, let's lay our strategy, and if the game's a cakewalk, just increase the difficulty. The rule to create that impasse, to make it seem like, oh no, things are not working the way we wanted to, and things are going crazy because we weren't strategizing. I'm like, when they were outside, when the hobbits and the fighters were inside Moria and they're waiting and the cave trolls coming down, you didn't think they were randomly going chaotic. No, but there was some points where they weren't accidentally killing each other.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Now, the flip side to the argument about secrecy is that you start getting alpha players then.
That's a good point. People have said the reasons why they do that is to mitigate alpha players.
I can see that because I've experienced that. I've seen that happen, right? Where a single person will take control of the entire board, and then it's not fun for.
I remember we were playing Star Trek 5-Year Mission, pretty simplistic game.
Yeah,
and we were all doing this, and you were like, "Can I play?"
and that's
because that wasn't one alpha player. It was quite literally you were beta, everyone else was alpha.
Well, this is exactly it. And I remember that. I remember that.
But for me, I try to consciously now, and especially the last few months, I try to say, well, these are your options. These are your options. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. What should I do? And there have been times where Nicole's like, honey, what should I do? It's up to you, honey. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're the player.
Yeah.
I will lay out going, well, you go here, you can kill this person. Oh, this is a good idea. Try this. This is a good idea here. And this is a good idea here. Ultimately, the decision is yours.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, go here and kill that because you have to do that.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, please, for the love of God, can you do this? I'm about to die.
Yeah.
Please help me.
There's definitely, and at that point, that's where the communication comes in.
Yeah.
And that's where right. But it's still. But I think that is a bigger topic though, because people do take alpha control. It's intrinsic in a lot of people,
especially in
cooperative
games.
So that's where the secrecy comes.
Like when we were playing.
Sound check. Bloodborne?
No, not Bloodborne. You didn't.
I'm just naming.
You're just naming things.
Cooperative games now.
Ham. Cheese.
Purple.
No, when we were playing Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah. Yes.
And I know that when we were playing, I was being very conscientious to go, okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Someone needs to do this. I'm not saying you have to do this, but I'm saying someone should do this. This needs to get done. This needs to get done.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we still all work together.
Yes.
There has to be a conscientious effort by the group to not be an ass.
And that's true. But I mean, it's not necessarily even being an ass, though. I mean, some people will just naturally take lead.
Yeah. And I have a problem with that. But if that's a perpetual problem in their group, that's a problem in your group. It's not the game's problem to fix.
And that's, yes. And I think that's what all the games that make you play secrecy is that they're trying to hit all of those people.
Yeah.
Right? As a marketing strategy, as a rule, so people who don't normally play together can play together.
Yeah.
For that very reason. I wish there was a different way of doing it. I wish there was a way, because I agree with you. I don't like the secrecy. I've never.
Yeah, but once again, I fall back on the simple point: the fact that if you have a problem with alpha gamers, and if people say this game is really bad for alpha gamers, I do not think it's the game responsibility to fix that. I think it's the parties. Like for example, there are some games where there's not really much for alpha because there's not really an opportunity for that. Not because of secrecy, but because of some other mechanic.
It just doesn't allow for that.
Like when you're playing Legendary, you're dealing with your own hand and working on your own strategy. I can't look at your cards and your cards and your cards and formulate an alpha response.
Yeah.
But obviously when we're playing Robinson Crusoe, because all of our action tokens go on at the same time, I can go, well, I'm going to take you and then put them here.
Yeah.
Now we're going to play.
Yeah.
I only need you to offer input.
Give me a drink sometimes.
Give
me
a drink, yeah.
That's the problem in the game design in itself, because it does allow for that. But I don't like the solution of the players grouping the issue though, because that can limit who you play with. I mean, as purely an example, if you were a complete alpha player, I would stop playing.
Yeah.
It's just because.
But that's the alpha player's fault. And that's the thing. If you have a group of 5 people and there's an alpha player, then you're a group of 4 people.
Well, that's exactly. But then you're starting to mitigate who you can play the game with.
I don't have a problem with that. Or you say, like, dude, you're an alpha player. We don't want to play with you. But once again, that's the group's responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. Like I said, once again, I'm not trying to supersede. I'm not trying to be.
You're not trying to be the.
I'm not trying to be the alpha debater here. I'm saying the fact that if I'm being an alpha gamer, you say stop being an alpha gamer. I'm like, you're right. I'm being an alpha gamer. I'm going to stop, because ultimately, I shouldn't care if we win or lose the game. But there are some situations where I'm an alpha gamer to myself. Like, I'm an idiot. Someone should have told me not to do that. Yeah. You should have been an alpha gamer.
Damn it! Take responsibility.
Yeah, that's the problem. Because if there's an alpha gamer and you lose the game, he's like, well, it's all your fault. If we played together, we can all... Like, you all win or you all lose. No.
No.
If we lose, it's all his or her fault. And then, his fault, because I've never seen him. I don't know. Your wife can...
Yeah, she can be pretty alpha sometimes.
That's actually... Yeah, because she's actually mean.
She can be. Yeah, she can be. Absolutely, she can be.
How you doing? You want to move now, please? Oh, God, that was... And yet, your wife was also the one that is apparently the angel of death that murdered everybody inside a burning building.
I know.
So she can't be like... We were playing a game of Flashpoint Fire Rescue. It was a relatively medium difficulty. There were 4 players, 2 couples. His wife...
single-handedly killed, 3 people?
Was it 3 people? I think it was 4 people.
Yeah.
I think she...
Maybe.
The funny thing is, they wouldn't die...
Slowly.
They wouldn't die on their own. They would die after she picked them up and proceeded to walk towards the exit.
And then drop them
literally
before the exit.
The door is right in front of you. And I'm like, I'm going to make it out this time. And then a fire breaks out, knocks her to the starting point, kills the person. Yeah. And that repeats 3 more times. Like, that single-handedly cost us the game. Like, literally, like... If this happens, if I roll a 4 and a 6...
Statistically, it couldn't.
If I roll a 4 and a 6, this fire is going to spread and kill Jen, and we were going to lose the game. So, Jen, just don't roll a 4. She rolled a 4 and a 6. Oh, my God.
How? I know.
You're supposed to be saving lives.
Yeah, right?
But that's fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun.
It was.
I wasn't getting up getting angry, going, oh, damn it.
No, we didn't win. But it was, I mean, at that point, it was
now, if she was alpha gaming, she would have taken all the heat for that.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's my final word on that. I think if a game is inducing a mechanic to combat alpha players, I say take it out and find a group that doesn't have an alpha gamer.
Yeah.
That's just my point.
Yeah. To some degree, I agree because that is the best solution, but I don't think... overall it's a viable solution because you're then going to mitigate who plays the game.
I think people do that anyway.
I guess.
You want to play with this guy? No, he stinks.
No, I'm not even going to text him.
Like, it's like I'll play with basically anybody, but I've been in groups where people are like, I'm not playing with that guy. I'm like, oh God,
yeah,
we have to deal with this stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think,
but that I mean that happens, right?